Hey everybody, welcome. I know you can't see me, but I had to do some assembly off stream to make sure I had parts and all the files worked and stuff because I had to change a bunch of stuff. So um, I had to, modify holes and stuff like that. So I just did the frame assembly essentially. Hey, welcome. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty short stream, just 1 hour, because I do have LAN party after this. But I want to get the ball rolling on Bastion, and I want to get this uploaded to printables. But before I can get it uploaded to printables, I need to print one. I need to make sure that the files are all good. I know how it's built, all that kind of stuff. Canrog is responsible for Bastion or Mark 1 Rook 180. So I had never built one of these or anything like that. So I've just been printing out files and fixing them as I've been like looking in the CAD and making sure holes are right size and that type of thing. So far the frame's gone together well. All the printed parts are working well so far. So we're in pretty good shape, and I've put some heat sets into some places and whatnot. But yeah, so I have the frame pretty much assembled. I've added some of the bearings and things like that to it, but I've also added my bed frame as well, because you need to add this before you put the top on, of course. Hey Pitfall, welcome. Welcome from Poland, welcome. So, essentially what we're going to be doing in this stream is we're going to be hopefully assembling like Y rods. We'll be putting heat sets in. Bastion uses heat sets instead of M3 nuts like the Rook 180 did. So heat sets are much nicer. You have a better tolerance if your printer isn't printing exactly perfect with heat sets, so that's pretty nice. Hey Michael, welcome from England, awesome. Hey 3D Experiments, welcome. Just an hour stream today, so it won't be a long one, but thanks for coming by. So I gotta fix my bearing here is upside down. So we're gonna fix that first, I think, is probably the first thing we'll do. Try to make this a little bit easier for me. So one of my rear bearings here is upside down, so I gotta get some tools. Oh nice, you're building a Panda Mini? Yeah, that's what once this is on printables, I'm focusing on Panda Mini and starting to update it to a full release version. Let's flip this bearing around. If I can do this. There we go. Hey, welcome. If you want to enclose this, you'd have to print the entire printer out of ABS. And I don't know anyone who's done that. This is really meant for PLA. No linear rails at all on this printer. There we go. This is all strictly linear rods. And then I need to tighten this up here. That's better. Yeah, if you printed them, if you printed everything out of like ABS or ASA, I don't know how your tolerances are going to be though. ABS can shrink a fair amount, so you might have difficulty getting the 12 mil rods in their holes. It's already pretty stiff with PLA, so I don't know if this is a great printer to enclose. A budget ABS workhorse, yeah, it depends on your size. If you want small, really tiny, Panda Mini. If you want large, just go Panda. But wait for both of those to become release versions, not beta. Panda and Panda Mini are going to change quite a bit. So they are just in beta right now. So what I did was I installed these bearing stacks and then I bolted them to the top of the frame, and then I hammered the frame down onto the rods. PTG is pretty flimsy for a frame. You're going to get a lot of wobble with a PETG frame. It might work. It's just these 12 mil rods are really relying on the rigidity of PLA to make this frame really rigid. That being said, this isn't a speed demon or anything. Like, this printer is not supposed to do like 10, 15K acceleration. This is just a inexpensive printed larger printer. So so I'm gonna just put this down. I just realized I have a gap here. I don't know why there's a gap. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna just set this aside for now, and I'm actually, I want to put this upside down because I need to put some heat sets in here. So you can see my Z is like really smooth. No problems whatsoever. I still do need to button the center section up, but I want to put some heat sets in this frame right now while it's here. So basically these 8 mil rods, they actually get clamped in. You can kind of see it just like this. So I need to put heat sets in these spots. And I forgot to fix the holes on these ones, so they're 5 millimeters still, which should be okay, but these should be 4.6. I fixed the rear ones, but not the front ones. They will be fixed on printables, of course, but we're gonna plug in my crappy soldering iron and we'll get some heat sets going. And if you go on Discord, I've put the step file on Onshape for this. Please only use it as a building guide. Don't export files from that. But the CAD for this is on Onshape if you want to take a look at it in 3D and use it as a building reference. So let this heat up. I basically got everything printed out. I've got my center bed section here as well. Yeah, basically every single hole on the bed frame had to be fixed because they were all 5 millimeters. But I got them all done. So all those printed parts are ready to go. You're not going to be printing fast enough on this printer for a stepper heat to be a problem. Your steppers should be pretty cool at the speeds this is going to print. This is like 5K Excel, 150 millimeters a second, something like that. The steppers aren't going to melt the PLA. You're not printing crazy fast on this. Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't be running too crazy on this. Um, like I say, I'm targeting like 5K, 7K acceleration, 100 to 150 millimeters a second. Faster than most Cartesian printers, but again, this isn't meant to do speed benchies or speed. It's meant just to be a fun printer for you to build with a fully printed frame in a nice 180 size. It's not necessarily slower than a regular Rook. The regular Rook was never intended to be crazy fast. People do print fast, but both Rook and Rook 180 are meant to just be print as good a quality as you can. Don't go for speed racing. That doesn't mean that you can't, but they're a similar style, right? Original Rook and Rook 180, they're meant for 5 to 7K XL. It's mostly about print quality. It's not about speed on these because they don't have a metal frame. You'll never get the rigidity of a 2020 frame out of printed. So these were always intended to just be, you know, a decently quick printer, but not speed. Yeah, people will definitely make them go fast, and that's awesome. That's great. People can make them go as fast as they would like. There's no no restrictions or anything like that. But like I say, they were intended just to be quick printers, nothing crazy fast. So I'm going to get some heat sets going in here. The holes are still a little big on this part, but I've already fixed it in the STL, so it should bite enough for me able to clamp the rods down. So. Okay. Put some heat sets in the back here. Yeah, it's your printer. Do what you like with it, for sure. I mean, I've definitely printed 10K on this reliably. But like I say, I never intended it to be that fast. But I've definitely done 10K on my original 180. So we have our first set of heat sets in here. You probably can't see that, but 2 heat sets go here for a clamp, and then there's 2 heat sets right here for Y clamp. And yeah, this printer is nice because no linear rails at all. And these 12 millimeter rods are very heavy. Is it possible to fit a larger bed and still get fancy? It does support Dragon Burner, so you could put PCB clicky on this if you wanted to. You're gonna have to change a lot of files though to get a bigger bed than 180. Yeah, you build the printer how you would like and use it how you would like. There's no restrictions or anything like that. I'd love to see some fast Bastion printers because we did officially change the name of this to Bastion because it doesn't look like a Rook. Yeah, 180 is still my favorite size. Yeah, you could make it taller with longer rods for sure if you wanted a taller Z. All right, Y rod clamps have heat sets in them. So I'm gonna do heat sets next on the bed, the center bed section here, while my soldering iron is hot. The problem with Ender 3 beds and even the Prusa is they're not meant to be mounted like this. So I'm using a Phytech or a Physec Prusa bed, and it's thicker than a normal Prusa bed. That's why it works. But like an Ender 3 bed is not very rigid on itself. It has to have a metal frame to bolt to, and there is no metal frame on this printer. So honestly, like I think a Micron 180 bed is better because it's a thick plate of aluminum that will provide support. Um, but yeah, Ender beds are generally flimsy and they're going to be kind of supported in midair on this printer. So again, your mileage might vary. I've not tried an Ender bed. They're not designed to be mounted like this. Is the audio a little bit low? I can bump up the mic a bit here. We'll see if that helps a little bit. But yeah, you know, Ender beds, any Cartesian bed has a frame underneath it. Whereas a CoreXY bed, it has a big, heavy metal thick plate because it needs that rigidity. So the Physec Prusa one, or yeah, the Physec Prusa mini bed, it is thicker. It's 3 millimeters thick. So, okay, so I've got heat sets in my frame now. I do need heat sets on the bottom of this, actually, I just remembered. So, and I need a heat set on the bottom of this, which I believe is right here. No worries. I turned the gain up a little bit. Hopefully it helps you out. So we should be able to just grab a Y rod, somewhat put it like that. And then I believe, are these like 6 mil? I've got all the bolts and everything from my old Rook in a box, so I'm going to try to use as many of those parts as possible. Yeah, you should be able, I updated the bomb like yesterday. It has the 5-sec bed on it. So you should be able to see that kind of right away. Of course, I don't have a Allen wrench. Okay. Oh, I need to put a bearing in. So I'm actually going to try some IGES bearings on Y. So I'm going to be using these IGES bearings. So you got to install them first before you put the Y rod on. And I almost forgot. Yeah, there is no gear reduction on the Z on this, so you do need a docking macro. Again, this printer is meant to be really simplistic. I've never really had any problems with normal 1-to-1, but I know a lot of people aren't ready for that bed drop. Okay, that's on. And then I believe this is my other clamp. Front here, yep. Try to get this on here. Come on. It's awkward with the bed here. Oh, maybe that isn't right. I think I got the wrong clamp on that side. This one? I think that's better. There we go. I need some more tin. Oh, there's one. Yeah, I do like the Bastion build. Canrog did an awesome job on this MK1 release, which we changed the name to Bastion. But this is a Rook 180 Mark 1. There we go. There's our first Y rod. So I'm going to flip this around. Got another IGES bearing in here, I believe. right, so pop this on. If you want. By default, the bed is heated on this, but I think you'll have issues with trying to print ABS on this printer just because the frame, the tolerances for the frame are not really made for ABS. Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to print. Are you meaning print peak on here or use peak? Peak is notoriously hard material to print as far as I know. I've never tried it myself. Okay, I need to get some more 10s. That's a good question. Most of the parts are relatively small. Canrog might not know how big the largest part is. Yeah, this is technically self-replicating. This is all PLA, yes. This is meant to be an easy printer to print and assemble. It's all PLA. And there we go. There's our second Y rod. Oh yeah, and I need to put in some heat sets on the bottom here. Where is, oh there it is, okay. There's one. Oh yeah, I need some heat sets on the back too. The bed frame on this has quite a few heat sets. I think I need to spin this around here. As parts fall. Yeah, and the parts take longer to print. So the parts are, they are long prints. I will warn you on that one. So I'm going to do the heat sets. You can see how nice the bed moves. It's like the definition of butter. Yeah, I put heat sets on the bottom Canrog for the 3mm holes. If that's what you're talking about. But I forget now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the FiSec bed uses M3 bolts. All right, let's flip this around. Hopefully I can get the bed installed, like mounted on today, so you can see the FiSec bed, the Prusa mini bed on here. Okay, I think I'm done with heat sets for now. So let's put this upright so you guys can get a better look at the front of the printer. Hey MakerMind, welcome. Yeah, I don't know. For creeping, I know PLA, people complain about PLA creeping and stuff like that. I can't say that I've experienced a lot of that. But yeah, I don't know if this would be a great like workhorse printer. I still think you would maybe want a 2020 frame printer. It's hard to say, really. Yeah, they're definitely reliable for sure. It probably depends on what speeds you're printing at and what your environment is like, temperature-wise and stuff like that. But I think PLA creeps to a certain extent and then it stops, right? It's not going to creep forever. So as long as you're making sure your bolts are nice and tight, do like your typical maintenance checks and that type of thing, you should be fine. It's very stiff. I'm doing 4 wall and it is a very stiff printer. There we go. I'm going to definitely do some printing on this for sure. I don't know how long it will stay assembled for, my version at least. Because like the extruder, I'm using this HX Lite. I'm probably going to steal this for another build. Okay, so... But we're going to do a stream with this printing and stuff like that so you guys can see it print and whatnot for sure. So I should be able to put this guy on now. Like so. Hopefully this is not going to bind too much, but I know these are notorious for binding if they're very, very clamped down. So we'll see here. So this should be the right size and orientation, and I need this. Oh, I gotta do heat sets in these. More heat sets. Yeah, I should buy a couple more. They're only 40 bucks with motor. They're crazy cheap. It's a pretty straightforward build. I'll just let my iron heat up a bit more so I can do the final heat sets. I will mention that this build does support bearings, F695 bearings, and idlers. If you're using bearings, you do have to space the idlers down. So you need more spacers at the top to move the bearings down by 1 millimeter. If you're using idlers, you cannot use M5 washers. You need a special 6 millimeter shim. So I'm going to make sure that's very clear on the bill of materials, depending on which you go with, either F695s or idlers. You will need different shims. Washers for bearings, or you need shims for idlers. Oh, I have a lot of practice, but these take a lot of time to work, and you can thank Canrog for doing this one. I did Rook 180, and then Canrog had the CAD, and he made Bastion, the MK1 version, so he definitely helped me on this, but it takes practice, but it does take a lot of time for sure. Okay, so we're going to be installing some heat sets into the X carriages here, XY carriages. I forgot about these. I'm sure Canrog can link the extruder. HX Lite. I forget the exact name. It's super cheap. It's $40 Canadian with motor right now. It's very, very cheap. Yeah, HGX Lite extruder. You can get them on AliExpress. They use very large gears. They're really nice. The 100 is inspired by this. The 100 came after this. The 100 was inspired by the Rook and Rook 180. All right, still facing the right way. This goes on here like so, and then I'm gonna need my clamp. And what screws do I want for this? Maybe 12s? These are 10s. Where are my 12s? I thought I had a bunch of 12s. We'll bring this box of screws over as well. I thought I had more 12s, but maybe I'm out. Alright, so let's see if we can find some appropriate hardware here. Well, maybe there's some 12s in here too. All right, so facing the right way. Let's put this on. All right, let's get this centered a bit. Not amazing. I never usually have great luck with these IGES bearings. They're very difficult to get preloaded correctly. Yeah, I don't know. I might just go back to normal bearings with this. I like that there's no moving parts in these IGES bearings, but I never really have faith in their smoothness or anything like that, unfortunately. And I might want to preload bearings on this guy too. I do have normal bearings, which I might just use instead. Because I mean, this does move. Okay. I mean, you could do cross braces for sure. These M12 or these 12mm rods are pretty beefy. I mean, cross plate braces can always help, I'm sure, but yeah, that's not even tight enough really to support it. And then this just doesn't move once it's tight. To tighten this down correctly, it's just... I'm gonna go grab, oh, I got one here, so let's take this off. I'm gonna go to regular bearings on this thing. Which I believe I gotta order some for the X. It's nice that this is so easily disassembled. So definitely pre-install your bearings in your carriages before you put them on the Y as well. Or, yeah, on your Y-axis. So I am going to go to the proper long bearings. My hands get all covered in grease. All right. So we're gonna put bearings in here before we assemble it. Hey, Hybrid Robotics, welcome. It's getting warm in here. All right, bearings. So I'm going to put a washer in first. Hey, Tyjan, welcome. And I need 25, I think, is what I want for this. Where is my... There it is. Shoot. I don't have many of those M5 washers and I just dropped one. So we're putting a washer on top because we got to space the F695 down because these are made to support both. So let's just see if I can fit this in here. Wow, there's a lot of grease on this. It depends on what you want for your printer. If you're wanting to print ABS, go right for a printer that can do that right off the bat, would be my suggestion. This is probably an easier build, but it's a different printer. It really depends on what you want to do. Hey, Mitsubishi. And it depends on what, like, price range and all sorts of stuff like that, you know? All right, so we've got our bearing stack installed. Again, put a washer on top. So let's, oh no, I'm gonna see if I can do another bearing. Okay, so yeah, washer on top. Washer on top. Do I have another washer? Yes, I do. Wherever this is. Bearings can be tricky. Oh, this hole's very loose. Did not notice that in the CAD. I don't know if that's too loose or not. We'll see. Upgrading the original Rook. Yeah, if you want something to do, but if your original Rook works great. This has much better belt tensioning than the original Rook. So you might like that. And it also uses Dragon Burner Toolhead, which you might like as well. Just fall there. Oops. Yeah, Dragon Burner is a pretty nice tool head. It's nice and compact, good cooling, easy to build. It suits this printer pretty well. There we go. So there's our y-axis all sorted. Phone's just going off. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream here in about 10 minutes because I do have LAN party. Did I do my carriage? Oh, that's what fell. Where is that? Yeah, the bomb is pretty similar, hybrid robotics. I just got to update the nuts and bolts and stuff. Most of the bomb is the same though. So there is already a bill of materials and it's pretty sorted. I'm just going to modify a few things like with the bearings. Depending on if you go with bearings or idlers for the motion, you will need different parts, like different washers. Yeah, 5K, 150. You can go faster though, depends on what you're printing and it depends on how you tune the printer. Hey Printer Prawn, welcome. Yeah, I've done 10K on my original Rook, 180. So yeah, like I say, unfortunately this is going to be a short stream, so we've already almost hit the 1 hour mark. I do have LAN party here. Next stream, I will hopefully be finishing this all up. So I'll have my hot end and stuff like that and whatnot, but you can see how much I've assembled already on this, but yeah, this is one of my favorite shirts. You're gonna be on stream if you come in here.
Okay, I'll wait. I figured you're on stream.
Yeah, another 6 minutes or whatever.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, normally LAN parties like every 4 weeks, but I moved last one. So these ones came really close together, so there won't be another one for another 4 weeks. But yeah, this is coming along quite nice. And I got to actually order more bearings for this too. But so far, assembly's going very, very well. And yeah, Canrog, I added heat sets for the bed mount, like for the bed M3 as well. So those all have heat sets. And then I have silicone spacers for the bed too somewhere. on this table. Yeah, right here. So we've got our silicone spacer there that the Prusa mini bed will sit on. All these joints that Canrod made fit together very, very well. Um, and yeah, I've basically, all these printed parts print very well now. So this should be on printables next week. The mic I'm using, it's just a Fine off Amazon. They're like $50, $40 Canadian. They're not cheap. The bed gantry is perfect. No issues with the bed gantry. It went together awesome. I just changed all the holes for 4.6 heat sets, and that's it. This went together in like less than an hour, like how it is now. I just did a little bit before stream because I didn't know if I had everything. And I disagree with Mitsubishi. I say audio. If you can't hear somebody, there's no point if there's lights. I would do mic first. That's my opinion, though. But yeah, we will continue this build next Saturday, and we'll be wrapping a lot more up. We're gonna run belts next week, mount the hot end, extruder. It'll be a much longer stream, and we'll sort out a lot more of this printer. I don't know if we'll get it printing next stream, but we will have all the belts ran. We'll run the Z, all that kind of stuff. My motors, my shafts are too long, so I have to do some drilling because these are E3D motors with very long shafts, and I need to make a hole where they go into. So I have to do that as well. But so far everything is coming along very nice. But yeah, that's kind of what I had for stream. I wanted to show off the progress here on Bastion. The frame went together very well. Printed parts should be out next week on printables officially now, and I will be archiving the GitHub for Rook 180, so this will be the new version. And yeah, we'll have more to do on next stream for sure, because I'll have all the parts and everything. But everything's printed out. You can see my Dragon Burner tool heads ready to go. I have all the clamps for everything. This printer runs BL Touch. So next stream should be a really fun stream. We'll get everything kind of sorted out. We'll tension the belts up. Canrog did a great job on the belt tensioning on this. It's much better than the original Rook 180. Yeah, we'll try to do try to wrap this up next stream. But I didn't even look at the viewer count. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming by and hanging out with me. It's been a long time coming getting Bastion ready out there for everybody. The step file's been on Patreon for a while, but I fixed a few things and it'll be officially on printables, and I will do a YouTube video on this, just going over it a little bit more, and that type of thing. But the frame is much nicer than Rook 180. Uses heat sets, which is much nicer in my opinion. I'm still designing and updating Panda and Panda Mini. So Panda Mini are my current projects right now for as far as CAD. And then I'm doing a small Delta printer next. So I'm going to do a small DIY, beginner-friendly Delta 3D printer, which I'm very excited to do. There's like very few of those out there, and I think a lot of people will really enjoy building a Delta. And they're very inexpensive, so I'm very excited to do that. But I'm going to end the stream here, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And next Saturday, we are going to continue Bastion. And we're going to mount the bed, get everything kind of sorted and ready to build a config for this. So, yeah, I'm excited for the Delta. Yeah, it should be hopefully pretty inexpensive, the Delta. There's less parts on a Delta than a CoreXY printer, so it should be cheaper. I'm very curious to see what we can get that price down to. It's going to be very budget friendly, and it's going to be an awesome little printer to have on your desk printing away. So it's going to be pretty sweet. So thanks again, everyone, for checking out the stream. I really appreciate it. Sorry this was a short one, but next stream will be 2-3 hours, something like that. We'll really get this thing dialed in and get it fully assembled, ready for config and stuff like that. So thanks again, everybody, and I'll catch you guys on Discord, and I'll catch you next Saturday.